All right, Mr. Goddard says, play on, gentlemen. We begin with the kick by Malifa. And the Welsh take the possession, headed towards the 22. A big hit to start the game. And a takeaway ball for the United States. Brian, a great way to start, and they give it right back. And let's go right back to the initial hit, and somebody is down for Wales.
Yeah, they're asking for some help out there. That was a huge stick right off the get-go. Not sure who that was for the U.S., but I think it was a big head clash by two big boys up front. An immediate turnover for the United States, and they couldn't capitalize. And I don't think he's all there, is he?
No, I think we're going to have our first switch just seconds into the game, and it's unusual to see something like this so quick.
Was that the skipper? I'm not sure if that was Ryan Jones or not. I think it was. Who was the big hitter for the United States? Still can't pick him out.
Whoever was made a great takeaway movement, too. And I think you are right, Brian. It is, in fact, Ryan Jones, the captain from Ospreys. He was the captain of the Six Nations team for Wales this year. And he'd be very difficult to replace. All that he means to this team. He's the skipper of the team, 28 years old. Plays 3 different positions for Wales. He's one of those amazing swing guys with such leadership. He can play open side, backside, or number 8.
Yeah, tremendous leader. And again, he's one of those guys that most people thought for sure he'd be down with the British Lions in South Africa. Still waiting for that call-up, as are a number of these Welsh players today.
Well, still, we go back to the stop, and the United States with a scrum inside Welsh territory, and a good break for the U.S. to start.
Well, it was a good break, but they couldn't capitalize once again. The handling let them down. They have to improve on that. They have to focus. They ruined a number of scoring chances early on against Ireland last week that could have turned the momentum in their favor.
Touch, pause, engage.
And a free kick. The Welsh not getting into scrum to Hoyle. Run it forward by Stanfill. And it's going to be another free kick because the Welsh had not retreated 10 meters.
Down, right, head and shoulders up. Here's the mark, 10 meters.
Let's see, they should take the 10. Is it going to be a full penalty?
Here we go.
It's still the free kick, so there's no opportunity to kick it goal. But the U.S. very definitely 15 meters out with another chance. Boom, ahead they go into tackle. About 10 meters from the try line. Wearing that blank jersey, Nick Johnson, a story about that in just a minute. Here's the recycle by the U.S. Give it once again to the big kid, Moe Akiola, making his first start of 09. Move it back to Stanfill. Stanfill into tackle. The Welsh defense holding about 10 meters out. Let's try again. Get it to one of the locks. This is Hayden Smith into tackle.
Boy, the Welsh were up very quick. I thought that was offsides.
And the United States having difficulty with the ruck. They had a couple. Cleaning things up. Chris Biller, the young guy from the University of California, making his second start for the national team of the United States. And the U.S. over the top. And let's see.
My dear skipper, listen, I'm happy for aggression. I'm happy for tough, but you play fair, please. You're miles off the ball, all right? Incorrect entry.
Yeah, they're saying that Louis Stanfill came off the side.
Well off the ball, tackled the man. Right? Keep it sensible.
And the penalty against the United States, so a lost opportunity.
Yeah, I think that was a good call by referee Goddard. The ball, Louis Stanfill just took a Welsh player off. It looked like he was well away from play. But it was a shame because the United States, talking to their coaching staff earlier this week, they wanted to use some patience, whether it took 6 recycles, 11, or 15. They wanted to continue to just try to probe for the gaps in this Welsh back line. And it looked like they were doing just that. They're in about 5th or 6th phase when that penalty by Stanfill occurred. And again, you let the Welsh off the hook.
First time for the Welsh lineout. Nice take by the formerly shaken Ryan Jones. He's back into it now, Brian.
Yeah, and again, he is so valuable for this Welsh team.
Out wide.
Great maul by the Welsh, 5 meters toward the halfway line.
And I think we're going to see a lot of mauls today. They knew the Irish were very effective against the U.S. last week in the maul department.
Here's your first lift. This is by Nicky Robinson, making his first start of the tour. To Chris Wiles. Wiles, a great story, born in Stamford, Connecticut. Now plays for the Saracens, pretty much made his home in England, although born in the United States. Straight ahead goes Biller.
And Dave, on that last one, we saw some good hands by Tui Lavuka.
Out it goes into the midfield. 10-meter line on the U.S. side. Second possession for the U.S. They're going to kick it away now. Malifa's kick and straight into touch. So the United States headed the wrong way after a penalty, probably a little bit unnecessary, deep inside Welsh territory. That allowed Wales to punt it out. The United States gets some ball back after a kick, and they put it directly into touch. So Welsh Rugby with the lineout.
It's just the little things, Dave. They all kind of mount up. That missed kick or too heavily weighted kick goes straight into touch. And again, that's about a 40 or 50 meter difference.
It's over.
Another nice take. The Welsh with a full line. They have a mishandle out there. Dyfed Jones with some difficulty, and it's going to be a knock-on against the United States scrum to Wales.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity for the United States to poach that ball. David Jones could not handle that pass, just a little out in front of him. And that would have been a huge turnover for the United States. As it is, good attacking position here for the Welsh. There's the ball. And who was that? I think that was Peter Dahl that almost had it for the United States, but there's the knock forward by the U.S. Referee right in front of the play. But watch for the Welsh here. They're so dangerous. Lots of green on that right side of the scrum.
Both teams struggling to get started. Take it off the back. Jones goes the other way with it. Now they get out to the wing. Tom James, he can't handle it. Wow.
Well, now the United States dodged a bullet as they did a double skip out wide, and DiBartolo was pinching in on the defense. It was wide open on that outside. Unfortunately for the United States, James couldn't handle it.
Quite the static start for both teams. Neither side being able to take advantage of other errors or hang on to the football. This is a little bit sloppy too, although they get through. And here goes Malifa. Atta puts the ball off to Dahl. Dahl with the pass and the ball into tackle. It's Petrie, the captain, to the deck. And the recycle by the United States. The first big run, a venture into Welsh territory. Bring it back outside to Malifa. Atta is partially blocked. It goes the other way. Great opportunity for Wales now. Picked off by Dino Jones. Wales near midfield into the hands of Sowden Taylor. Here comes your kick. Nobody there. On retreat now is the U.S. wing DiBartolo, and he chases it, but the ball into touch deep inside U.S. territory.
Oh, David. It looked like Atta Malifa had all sorts of green behind. He took a little bit too much time, and the Welsh were able to charge down that kick, and just like that, they're back 10 meters from their own goal line. And a nice little break, though, by Malifa to get things going. Good support by his Belmont Short teammate, Peter Dahl. And the ruck was set up nicely, but then Malifa, again, just a little bit too long with his options.
Great take on the line out by Vander Giesen.
A better start for the U.S. in the line out today against Ireland. They really struggled, lost 6 balls in the first half.
All right, Petrie looking for it. Oh, that's a little bit untidy. I think that's probably, well, they're going to give a knock-on and a scrum to Wales. Wow.
He was fine. He wasn't in danger.
You know, he talked to Eddie O'Sullivan and staff, and they're wondering about the little things, and so far the U.S. is contributing a lot of little things to the Welsh effort.
Yeah, you just can't have that, especially against a more experienced side in World Rugby. And coming in, U.S. ranked 19th, Welsh number 7 in the world. And keep in mind, a lot of the Welsh players who we might normally see in the red jerseys are down in South Africa with the British Lions, 13 as a matter of fact, totaling over 500 caps. So there's a lot of experience in a different hemisphere today, Dave.
Well, that's a lot of Welsh internationals with there not being a sunset over the Welsh rugby effort in the world right now. As you mentioned, 13 down south, full squad over here, full caps for these matches. And I'll tell you what, a great opportunity for the United States with so many of the Welsh stars away. And make no mistake about it, Wales does not take a huge drop when they give up even 13, to give you an idea how strong they are.
Yeah, still a very good team. I mean, you see Dwayne Peel, Ryan Jones, Duncan Jones, a lot of good players.
Straight in, 9.
All right.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
The Welsh
Now go on.
shoving it around. Now they pick it up off the back. It's Jones, Ryan into the tackle. They're adjusting to bring their forwards into the attack now. They do. They bring it to the hooker, Williams. Gareth taken, well, stopped. And back to the prop. This is Duncan Jones. Wales 7 meters out. Fair enough or not fair enough? Let's see. Nope, they're going to call the offsides.
They got to watch yellow
against
here.
Mate Moi Akiola. Plays for the Park City Haggis, and they're going to talk to him about a professional foul now.
Come here. Firstly, you must fix the entry. That's 2 penalties. Entry. If you're going to counter ruck, you come right from behind. In the red zone, you be careful. Any more like that, and he can go to the bin. All right? Up.
Well, Mike Petrie, the skipper, has got to remind his guys, you've got to come in from what they call the gate. So a penalty, and the Welsh appear to want 3 points. And we'll see the...
You touched on it, a lot of small little errors by the U.S. And there's the ball, still in the ruck.
That's quite right. He just off the side. Okay, so here's Nicky Robinson making his debut of the tour. Plays for the Cardiff Blues. And he easily pumps that through. And the Welsh on the scoreboard first with the penalty goal. They lead it 3-0.
Talk about a little pressure and fly half position. Nicky Robinson hasn't played for Wales since 2006. And the guy last week who's on the bench, Dan Biggar, he was 8 for 8 for his goal kicking effort against Canada. 6 penalty kicks, 2 conversions.
Quick 22 on the tour. Speaking about Nicky Robinson, this is as a starter. He is 6-6 for Wales at that fly half position. Arguably somewhat similar to quarterback in American football. And I know he wants to get over the 500 mark. Talking to them, it's important to him. All right, the Welsh on the restart take it across the 22. They're going to try to run it and attack it. Instead, it's going to be a boot ahead. It's going to come sailing down to Wiles. Chris takes it at midfield, looking for the counterattack. Long pass and completes it.
Yes,
it sure was.
By Wales.
And another penalty, hanging on to the ball in the tackle.
Boy, that Welsh defense came up so quick. Nick Johnson got isolated. The support was a little slow getting there, and the Welsh just enveloped him and set up a nice penalty opportunity. Well within range, I would think, of Nicky Robinson.
Well, within 60 seconds of referee-controlled time, Wales lining up for another penalty. Let's see if we can catch this.
Well, there's the long pass out. Duncan Jones, perfect body position, reached over the fallen Eagle player and just tried to secure that ball. Johnson not releasing. There you see the referee again, just easy call to make for him.
And a good look here at Toyota Park. Already, the United States assessed 5 penalties. And once again, Nicky Robinson. And the left footer boots it through the sticks again. 6-0 on the talented left leg of Nicky Robinson. 27 years old, his 13th cap, as we mentioned, 6-6.
And Dave, it shouldn't be a surprise that the Welsh kickers are so good on this tour. Neil Jenkins, the ace kicker for Wales in the history of Welsh Rugby Union, he's one of the coaches here on this North American tour, so these guys should be perfect.
All right, let's seems like we just did this. Here comes the Welsh again. It's all set up the same way. It's same thing. Groundhog Day. This time, it comes down to DeBartolo. Make that, sorry, that was Malifa, where he should be. And the U.S. trying to get some space. Instead, it's taken on the other side by Evans. His kick is charged down, but right in the right spot is Ryan Jones to recover for the Welsh.
Yeah, that was Kevin Swerin. Good pursuit from his wing position.
And
there we go.
Penalty against Wales.
And I think what it was, Dave, I think there was a knock-on when it was played by a Welsh player in front of the ball carrier.
Right.
And here's a Swerin charge down. He had one against Ireland last week. Good hustle from the wing position. Let's see if we pick up that knock-on forward. Oh, there's a knock-on there as you see the player laying on the ground that played it for Wales. So this might be an opportunity here for the United States. Looks like DeBartolo is going to be doing the kicking for the U.S. team today.
Gavin, quite an athlete, quite a story for the United States. Born in Sydney, now plays for Eastern Suburbs. This is his 6th cap. But with his kicking ability, he is very fast. His 40 meters, 4.7. Get a speeding ticket running that fast.
Yeah, that's a good big game experience. Super 14 and the Australian Sevens pool as well.
Played briefly for the Western Force, the new side down in Australia, down in Perth. Look at this boot. Long enough, is it good? It is.
Like that.
How about that? Gavin DiBartolo, 6'2", 209-pounder, nails it. And the U.S. is on the scoreboard. Takes the Welsh lead and cuts it in half, 6-3.
And he had plenty of distance on that day. That would have been good from past midfield, I think.
Yep. Something for the Welsh to think about. Here's your restart kick. The United States finally taking one. Robinson hoists a beautiful kick. Knocked by the United States. It'll be a scrum to Wales.
Yeah, the jumper and the lifter just a little bit offline where that ball came down. Could not quite bring it in.
Well, here we are, nearly 15 minutes into the match, and you start to get the sense that neither team has really got it together yet. They're not fully together, warmed up.
And, last week against Canada, this Welsh backline did a great job creating some gaps, running the ball. All we've seen so far is them kicking the ball when it goes out wide. I expect them to start trying to find some gaps here.
Peel, the skipper, sends it out into the midfield. The ruck. Wales covered now by Davis. Davis over to Mark Jones. The right wing playing a lot on the left side. The big hit this time. John Yap from the Cardiff Blues takes it into tackle. Here comes the Welsh again. Third phase. Get it into the hands of their big lock. Dynel Jones.
Got it out wide.
And some space. One more pass to throw. There it is to the fullback. And the line goes across. And put it down for the Welsh. Big try. Scored by Wales. Was Tom James eventually took it in.
And Dave, that was a lesson in letting the ball do all the work. Perfect timing by this Welsh back line. You saw it open up outside. Looked like about a 4-on-2 opportunity. And that was Tom James who finished it off. But watch the quick hands. The defense came up for the U.S. They didn't have enough numbers to begin with. And then when Swerin pinched in, it was 3-on-1. They cut back in on Wiles. And then again, just that last pass and then a cut back. Excellent work try by this Welsh back line.
First try of the contest. Been interesting. We've seen Mark Jones, the right wing on the left side. Tom James, the left wing on the right side. And that's exactly where he scored. And centered here at Toyota Park. Robinson. And he remains perfect today. A couple of penalty goals and a conversion, and the Welsh with a 10-point lead, 13-3. Coming up on the midway mark, first half, the United States and Wales coming to you live from Toyota Park in Chicago, home of the Chicago Fire.
And Dave, important few minutes coming up for the United States team. They got to get some ball in hand and do something with it. They got to retain possession, try to get 3 or 5 down into this Welsh end.
Okay, here comes the kick again. Boy, they're sticking to the script. Wiles. Chris is going to put it right back down the other end. Up and under, nicely placed. A lot of pressure, and his opposite number, Daniel Evans, with a great take in front of the 22.
And just as good, a great steal by the United States. They might have something out wide here.
Big bang hit that time by Stanfield. Make a good pass, and you got it. Swerin, and they're going to bring it back. The ball was thrown forward.
I think it might have just been tapped.
Tapped forward on the pickup.
Yeah,
and one of the Welsh players is down, by the way.
Well, I think that was that collision with Louis Stanfield in the midfield. Yeah. Just a little bit quicker hands. I'd love to have seen Van der Giesen find somebody with that pass rather than have it go to floor. There's the big hit, and I think that was Goff that felt it. Here's the pass that missed. That's where you had Nick Johnson on the inside. Went beautiful there.
All right, so the Welsh have one on the floor. We're going to find out who it is and make sure they feel better when we come back. It's 13-3 in favor of Wales. Who was shaken up for Wales, and now with the restart, A scrum.
last chance.
They're going to try it one
Give
more
me a touch
time.
on that call,
Welcome
correct?
back on
After the hit, take your bind straight up.
Dave Sitton,
Okay.
along with
Scrum red.
Ryan Vizard and Maria Prekagis
There it is.
on the touch lines this afternoon from Chicago, the United States and Wales. The U.S. trailing by 10, 13-3. The Welsh with the lone try so
Back.
far.
Pause, engage. Ball in. Wind up. Behind ball.
U.S. trying to move the Welsh. And the ball sloppy at the back. They're going to be an offside against the United States, so Welsh playing with advantage.
Well, Mike Petrie thought that ball was out. I thought it was out.
Yep. Well, he didn't actually call it against Petrie. He said it was...
It might have been a flanker breaking off.
Yeah.
A little soon for the United States.
But another penalty, and it's hurting the United States. The U.S. has had 3 good possessions inside Welsh territory. 2 of them have been concluded with a penalty.
Well, let's see if we can. Well, there's the flanker on bound right there.
Yeah.
It looked like Nick Johnson was just taking a look too early. He might have called Peter Dahl too. I'm not sure.
Came
But
unbound, yep.
Regardless, another escape for this Welsh team. Didn't pick up too much yardage on that kick. It is still going to be their put in on this lineout. Yeah, it looks like Ryan Jones has had enough. He had that early knock. That's a big loss for him. There you see the lineouts. Both teams perfect.
Jones out of the contest for the Welsh. Replacing him is Sam Warburton of the Cardiff Blues. This will be his first cap for Wales midway through the first half here in Chicago.
And that's one of another great thing about these tours. You get a lot of youngsters in the lineup. A lot of them earning their first cap. The Eagles had 8 last time out. Wales had a few too. See, here they go. They're going to try that maul. U.S. a little more solid today, though. Pretty good defense on that maul. He can't bring it down anymore.
Robinson lifts it. Nice take. And the mark called by Swerin, who's a great story for the United States. Young man who's a captain of the United States All-American team, captained his college team to a Final Four appearance. That'd be St. Mary's. And has had a great opportunity to advance his career down in New Zealand. But the Welsh with a quick line out, and here comes the boot again. Same guy, Nicky Robinson lifting him up and down. No knock with Malifa, and he is wrestled down just outside the 22 on the U.S. end of the pitch. Corkscrew comes up, Mike Petrie over the head of the wings. That's Tom James. Back it goes. That one is directly to DiBartolo. Now he's going to lift it up. Nicely done. DiBartolo leaves it taken, and a mark called by the Welsh. They will have the free kick.
Yeah, just a little bit too much on that last kick. You want it in front of the 22, so they can't take that mark.
James, the quick tap, he gets it to Robinson. He puts it right back to the U.S. And here comes Wiles. Wiles sees some space, chips it down. Daniel Evans to cover behind the 22 with the great fake. And he's across the 22, and the Welsh will rebuild the ruck just outside the 2. Strike. Chip kick. Nobody there. This is going to be dangerous. Nice bounce. The Welsh on the gallop. Look at that. Beautifully done. No one there to stop Jonathan Davis. The Welsh over for their second try. A beautifully executed chip kick. 1 pass, 50 meters, second try for Wales.
But Dave, we could see it up here. There was nobody back for the United States on defense. There was a huge gap between the last line of defense and that first line of defense for the United States. And here's Nicky Robinson, the nice little clever chip over the top. Watch the bounce, perfectly weighted. Gets the bounce, and there's 2 or 3 Welshmen he could have picked out of that line. He chose Jonathan Davis. And Davis, again, plenty of gas for a big man, and he just thunders in for the Welsh second try. And they make it look so easy when they're on.
And that leaves us Nicky Robinson. Yeah, let's just go ahead and watch this. Big old Jonathan Davis, 21 years of old, made his debut against Canada last week. He's got a try in the United States this week, and the penalty, make that the conversion kick, is good. Robinson stays perfect on the day. 5. Make that 4 pumps directly through the sticks. And 20-3 the score to Wales.
Yeah, the Welsh much more clinical, not making the mistakes they made last week. They practiced hard all week about finishing their opportunities, and so far they've done just that.
Restart. Malifa. Outside the 22. And another chip. This one's not going to have the same result. Right to Tuilevuka. Pate recycles it with the U.S. help. The kid, Chris Biller, out of the University of California, into tackle again. This is his second week playing for the national team. And the U.S. with another chance. They go back to Wiles, the fullback. He can't handle the pass. I think if we get a second look at that, you'll see that Chris took his eye off the ball just for a split second. Maria, what you got for us?
Number 8 on the Wales side, Ryan Jones, the captain, came out. It isn't a blood sub. It was just due to that first crack on the head in seconds into the game, and they just had to take him out. He wasn't doing so great, so they're going to check him out, obviously, for concussion. Hope to have more for you later, guys.
Thank you, Maria. And happily, whoa, no more, yeah. Well, one down for the Welsh again, so let's spend some time thinking about our national pastime. Swing away with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball action. First at 8 Eastern on Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Chase Utley and the Phillies take on the National League West leading Los Angeles Dodgers, who are led by the hot bat of Juan Pierre. Then catch Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern for an AL East showdown as Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays face Alex Rodriguez and the New York Yankees. Major League Baseball on ESPN and ESPN 360 Sunday and Monday night. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. They're going to restart with a scrum. Between the 22 and the halfway line. Foot up, U.S. Quickly, the Welsh use the free kick. A missed tackle. Nice movement by Andrew Bishop. Over the halfway line go the Welsh. They lead 20-3 and threatening to put another one on the board. Big tackle as John Yap is met by 2 U.S. jerseys. And the U.S. offside again.
I think they've hit double digits in penalties by now, Dave. They've just been, the Welsh just relentless in their attack, forcing the United States into penalties.
Quick ball again. Bring it back into the centers. Again, it's Bishop. And a mishandle. This one's... Nope, they say no mishandle. They go back, get into the hands of Robinson. Robinson back to Bishop. Bishop misses his tackle is caused. Mark Jones. And the touch, go the Welsh. Nice movement. It all started with the free kick. And the Welsh using it with lightning speed to attack the United States.
And some great decision-making by Dwayne Peel. His option-taking so far today has been outstanding. They always seem to have an overload on the outside. There's the missed tackle by Biller. And you see Nick Johnson just getting run past, and the saving tackle that time on Nicky Robinson by Kevin Swerin. Bundles into touch. It will be a U.S. throw. Big, big line out. They got to take this line out down.
Well, the Welsh close enough right now, easily within the range of Nicky Robinson, and certainly before halftime, Brian, 15 minutes or so to go here in the half. The United States can ill afford to drop back by any more than they have. A bit of a mess. The ball squirts over to the U.S., but prior to that, there was a knock-on by the Eagles, so scrum to Wales, and this is where they're going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, and again, just the small mistakes are just mounting for this U.S. team, and it's a critical time right now. 20-3. It's important that they hold out this Welsh team, score a try or a penalty kick before the half, stay within touch. And we've seen this scenario so many times before where the U.S. just kind of fades. Last week they played a strong 8 minutes.
Behind 9 white.
Welsh, rugby, attack, bring it into the wing, back on the switch to Davis. 15 meters away are Wales, leading 20-3. Skip it out, nice little toss to the wing, James. He's already scored a try today. Eagle defense set. To the prop, Yap. Wales attacking, they lost control of the ball, and it's going to be
Should be a scrum to the United States.
I believe it should be because the ball was thrown forward in the tackle. Nope, they're going to say.
Say the U.S. knocked down.
Yep. Let's see if we can find out what happened here.
Well, let's see. Again, Peel so quick. I looked like it came out forward to me, not unless the U.S. stole it in that ruck and it came out their way. But again, another spoil opportunity for the United States. They have to secure possession here.
The Welsh, perfect with their scrummaging. The United States, imperfect, perfectly.
That ball's out.
And they say the U.S. offside again. That one a bit cheeky, but let's see. They bring in the wing from the blind side again. Big, tall pass caught nicely done by Mark Jones. But the U.S. defense there holding the Welsh out 10 meters from the line. The fullback, Evans, into the tackle. The U.S. holding the line so far. One-on-one are the defenders this time. Spin it out to the big prop, Jones. He stood up, taken down into tackle. And the U.S. defense picks up about 5 meters. Slam, down goes Jones. That'll be David. It's easy to do this team. Jones, 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 and Jones again.
Well, you can see what they're doing. Look at how far they're stretched out for Wales. All the way to the far sideline. They try to take it as close to one sideline as they can and just spread it all the way across field. I would be surprised to see them come weak again here. Nope, they're going to go strong.
Robinson sends it out. They bring in the wing, Mark Jones. The Welsh using both wings very effectively, Brian, in different roles in backline, particularly in the loose piece. Down goes James.
Well, they play such an expansive game. This is exactly what they did against Canada. They want to stretch that defense out, and when they stretch the defense, it creates bigger gaps for the offense. Looks like a steal for the U.S., though. That's perfect.
Nope. And the Welsh finally penalized.
Even better.
Holding on to the ball.
Well, that was a good defensive sequence by the U.S. And you can, Dave, we got the vantage point seeing this Welsh team just spread from sideline to sideline. And I like what they do. And let's see if we can take a look at that steal. There you see Peel digging deep. Louis Stanfield looks like he just drove him off the ball. Then the U.S. forwards came in. And there you see, I think the Welsh players not releasing what's called offside, maybe standard feet.
3 penalties to the United States.
It seems like they've gotten
8 to Wales.
More than 8. Maybe it just seems like when they need it.
Well, one of the things as you well know about this game, playing defense all the time will tire you out. But racing goes on. NASCAR goes racing under the lights as Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards look to prevent Joey Logano from completing the season sweep in the Music City. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville, presented by Pennzoil. Coverage begins Saturday night with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
And it looks like Mate Mokiola is getting tended to by the training staff, while the United States, nice kick, picked up about 20 or 30 meters. Now on the other side of the Welsh line. Has been a bit since they've had possession inside the Welsh half. But still critical time. They need to get the next score.
And they do to secure good possession on lineout. Perfect throw. Spoiled a bit, but recovered by the U.S. They should have reasonable possession. Slowed a bit by the mishandles. Looks like a gridiron play now.
Yeah, they're setting it up to Biller with some prop support. But this Welsh defense, they're coming up and really taking it to the U.S.
Chip right to the opposite number, Tom James. James splits 5 Eagle defenders. Here comes Wales again. Nice pickup that time by John Yap, the tight end prop. The United States going to be pinged. The Welsh playing with advantage.
And they just great quick footwork by James on that one-on-one with DiBartolo. There you see, that was a bad kick by Atam Alifa, went straight to James. Gave plenty of opportunity to try to create something for this Welsh attack. And let's see, well, here you see what the Welsh are doing. Probably a makeable penalty kick. Now they're kicking down deep, trying to get that line out, maybe go for the 7-pointer. They've been really doing well, creating the overload on the outside. On just about every break, they're having that man advantage. There you see the quick footwork by James. He just skews right by DiBartolo. Vandergiesen finally got a hand on him. And let's see if we can see the U.S. player going to floor. Well, That's what they said. I'm not sure if he ever made it to the floor or not.
5 meters away. The Welsh still with the maul, thinking about the ruck. The U.S., well, this maul continues.
And against Ireland last week, we saw this on a couple of occasions. The Irish just down near the line, continued to bundle it towards that U.S. line. That's better. They're going to say dragging it down. There's the referee.
Collapsed maul against the United States.
Yeah, one of the ratified ELVs, one of the 10 that
they undid.
One of the 3 they undid, actually. We're not going to see a whole lot of those tap penalties anymore, and you can't bring down the maul.
Nope.
I like most of the new laws.
I think the tackle laws continue to become more perplexing for all involved, but of course the game's evolving and players are getting to the breakdown quicker and larger numbers. And meanwhile, the Welsh with the lineup.
Yep, secure it, try to get that maul. Well, the U.S. has been working hard on defensing the maul this week.
That would be the bright spot so far in this match this afternoon. Otherwise, with the mistakes, penalties, dropped balls, bad kicks.
And this could be trouble. It looked like a splinter group who had the impetus.
Another penalty against the United States coming up.
Well, we might be seeing yellow here any minute, Dave. Second or third time they brought you. Yeah,
he's
digging.
going to the pocket.
That's going to be a huge blow.
It's going to be called on Louis Stanfield.
It's fine. They can reset. I mean, come on now. Don't collapse more.
They're having all the time in the world to reset.
Penalty.
So Louis is going to go to the sin bin, the former All-American out of the University of California. Great career for him. And let's take a look. There he is at the top of the maul.
When it doesn't help when he got that earlier penalty right in front of the referee, and there was a little bit of chatter. And there you saw the referee said, nope, we're going to call it on number 6, bringing it down.
The U.S. make it a little bit tougher on themselves. So he'll be in the bin for 10 minutes. The U.S. will play with 14. The Welsh have a scrum 5 meters away, so you do the math.
Well, they got 7 in the scrum right now against the Welsh 8. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Welsh just try a push over here.
And another penalty against the United States.
They may elect to go for the scrum again.
Probably, why not? 5 meters? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Peel has taken over as a skipper. Again, 68 caps, plenty of experience. Here's Stanfield. He'll be in the bin until after the break. And again, this is the right call for the Welsh. They got 8 on 7, a good scrummaging team. We've already seen them control ball in this phase of play.
Well, unless the United States can
make
it 90. Here they come.
Yeah, well, Wales have to skew it a little bit to the right shoulder.
And there's another penalty against the United States.
They got to watch another sin bin for penalties like that.
Meanwhile, the Welsh continue to push the scrum over the line, and it is going to be a penalty try against the United States. And I'll tell you what, Matt Goddard is having quite the day with the whistle in Toyota Park.
Yeah,
and that is not to say or to be critical of the referee from Australia.
No, I think he made the right call there. The U.S. desperate here, trying to bring this scrum down. And there you see the offside. Yeah, I think that was Peter Dahl. Twice he was offsides on that one scrum. So I think Goddard made the right call.
Now, I think now the United States are in double digits, at least, with penalties. And I think there'd be reason for Goddard to complain that he's being winded by the U.S. this afternoon. My goodness. Kick, no problem. 35 minutes into the first half, Wales running away and hiding from the United States, 27-3.
Dave, 13 straight successful kicks for this Welsh side on tour. I think Neil Jenkins has earned his keep over here.
I've never seen the Welsh rabbit before. It had very large ears. All right, restart. Nicely kicked. Good hit.
There it is.
That finally got the crowd into the game. That was accomplished by John Van der Giesen.
Oh, was that the big lock coming down?
Yep. Big number 4, John, 6'6", 245 pounds of him. This is his 7th cap for the United States.
In 68 tests, that might have been the hardest that Dwayne Peel's been hit.
Yeah.
That was a nice, clean shot by John Vandergiesen. Again, active game last week against Ireland.
Well, he's an environmental scientist out of the University of Idaho, and there was changing the environment for sure for Dwayne Peel.
In Dwayne Peel's world, that's for sure. Oh, nice. And give Peel some credit for hanging on to the ball. Actually, it's going to be a U.S. put in, so good job, John Vandergiesen.
All right, the U.S. just needs to get that ball out of the channel before it's switched. Nope. Turn 90, Welsh scrum. It just...
You made it sound too easy, Dave. All they have to do is get it out. That's not so easy.
Get it through that second row as quickly as possible, but you're right. As soon as those scrum legs are moving the wrong direction, all things become difficult.
Well, let's not forget they're still playing a man down in that scrum. Are the Eagles. And again, still important here. Got to close the half on a positive note.
That positive note may be nothing more than stopping the Welsh from scoring again. Big hole. Ball is stripped. That was Warburton who came on for Jones earlier in the half. Turnover ball. It's going to go to the U.S., but it's another scrum. You wonder now, after what we've seen, if Eddie O'Sullivan tells the boys to bring a flanker or somebody in to pack down on that side row there.
You know, they might bring him back, and just, you know, backs don't pack down too often though in training. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. Let's see how they configure it if they put 2 flankers on.
He's got to be able to play.
Yeah, they're just going to, I think they're...
Abandon the number 8 slot?
I think they are. Nope. Again, see, well, that's where the trouble was. That's where they, on the loose head side for Wales last time out, they just dominated.
Yeah, it's already spun.
Yeah, they got to get, I think they should do away with the number 8, put a flanker down, and then just make that scrum have to do a little bit extra with that put in. Or bringing them back just to secure possession. They got a little weight with Tuilavuka.
Wales have won all of their scrums. The U.S. have won half of theirs. Here comes the switch, nicely picked out, at least to keep it in play.
That wasn't bad.
No, very fact they've got possession is a big deal right now. Inside Welsh territory, they're just outside the 22. They try to hammer it ahead and restack it, and the Welsh lose their feet, come over the top. And the United States will make a decision now. They're down a man. I wonder if he'd try to get 3 points right now. We've seen the fact that Gavin DiBartolo can certainly slot this. And you were saying a moment ago, it'd be nice to get off the pitch with something to show, but they're going to go for the line out. Down a man.
Yeah, down a man. I think they figure they got to start scoring some tries here. They're down by 24 points. The momentum's all been Wales' way. You know, I couldn't have faulted them if they tried a 3-pointer at that point. Still be trailing by quite a bit, but it might be a little bit of momentum going into that halftime.
Yeah, it'd be nice for them to receive a kickoff. Instead, a nice take on the line out. And they lost all the momentum.
Hey, Dave, look how impressive the Welsh defense. They organize so quickly, and watch how quick they come up. This is what the United States haven't been able to handle. Now they turn the ball over. Say again, just before half. You know, you wonder if they maybe should have taken that 3 points.
Yes, I'm a big advocate of getting something on the scoreboard. Particularly down a man.
Yeah, exactly. Could have killed a little bit more time off the clock. And now you're going to give the Welsh one more opportunity before the half with ball in hand. Plenty of room on both sides of this scrum. And Peel has been making all the right decisions today. That one might not be so good.
Peel puts it directly into touch, and it's going to be a matter of whether or not he took the ball back behind the 22. They say halftime. Well, that's how it's going to come to an end. Well, the take just in front of the 22 by Peter Dahl. The United States going to cycle it out behind the 22, looking for anything that the Welsh will give them, and they've not given them much today. Now we're going to get the kick. Into touch it goes. It'll be a Welsh lineout just outside the 22. So the U.S. could not do anything with their first possession, and back on defense they go.
Today we see at least one replacement at halftime. Mike Herkus, you may have noticed he's came in at the number 10 position. There's the lineouts. United States, you see Wales with a set piece domination here. They're perfect, I think, in their scrums and their lineouts. The U.S. a little bit more trouble. They just had so much more ball, has Wales today. Looks like they already have an overload on the outside.
First big hit by Herkus, by the way. Herkus started the match last week against Ireland. And the U.S. defense, they're going to cause the turnover ball, which is a knock-on, so the U.S. playing with advantage. Here's your kick, and it's going to be right to Tom James. James evades 2-3 tackles, threw it to the U.S., no knock. Nice pickup by Kevin Swearing. The U.S. into tackle just outside their own 22, trailing just the start of the second half, 27. Little miscommunication. Those are the little things, Brian.
Yeah, you saw two forwards there going for that ball that almost forced a knock-on by the United States. Here's something maybe on the outside. Now quickly reorganized by the Welsh defense.
Their tackling today, the boys in the red shirt, has been nothing less than spectacular. There's another big hit.
That's going to be trouble.
Richard Hibbert into the ball game for the Welsh, and it's going to be a scrum to the U.S.
Boy, good break for the United States there. Looked like Petrie got tied up in that tackle. Hibbert just completely enveloped him. And let's see, here we see Mike Petrie getting it. Hibbert turns him to his side, which you want to do, and the referee blew it up and gives the United States possession. So nice break there. Dave, earlier we saw where Chris Wiles had no option but to kick it. He had two men on his outside, but they were both in front of him. He couldn't do anything with it. There you see the scrums again. The United States, look at the possession domination for Wales in the set piece department. Incredible.
The U.S. playing at full strength, pick it up at the back, but look at that. No forward charge, just laterally and back. However, the U.S. able to recycle, and then the fall. Oh, it just gets tougher and tougher today. Here's the kick to touch. It does make it. Watch for the quick line out. And instead, Tom James, who we have been told switched jersey numbers with Mark Jones, takes the ball.
And you just saw Louis Stanfield come back in to make it a full side for this U.S. team. 15 on 15.
Yeah, there's your first big step forward for the United States here in the half.
Positive.
Yep. Nice pick and throw by Petrie.
Roll 7.
Across the tackle line they go.
And Dave, you know what the difference here on defense? The United States are just receiving. They're waiting for the Welsh team to come right into the tackle. And if you look at the Welsh play defense, they're coming right up and charging, putting their faces right into the United States on attack.
Swearin, the backside wing, does a nice job covering territory. Takes the ball across the 22. Now the tackle behind the 22, so the U.S. can kick this one away if they wish, and they do. And Swearin with a nice boot gets the United States out of their own end, out toward midfield. They mark it out just shy of the 10-meter line. The U.S. side of the pitch. Toyota Park, Chicago, Illinois, our site for this afternoon's National Guard rugby presentation of the United States national team taking on a world powerhouse in Wales. Nice little chip backwards that time to Mark Jones. It was knocked on. The U.S. playing. Oh, big hit. They didn't buy the dummy pass. You're right about this Welsh defense. It seems like every time the United States is about to catch the ball, there's red jerseys all over the guy in white. Here they come again. Boom. There's another loss. 3 straight loss of yardage.
And Dave, watch the attacking defense here. Look how quick the Welsh defenders come up. They put the United States under all sorts of pressure. See, they're up in their faces already.
Kick again, but again, nice, brilliant play by Daniel Levens. A little bit of soccer in him that time. And it will be a line out to the U.S. Swearin vies for the possession, and we'll have a conventional line out to restart play.
Yeah, good little play by Swearin too. He could have touched that ball as it was going out of touch. Had the wherewithal to know it was going to be a U.S. put in. Didn't bother. Okay, they're right in front of us. Let's see what they do here.
Miller holds it and then gets it in. Nice bit of moving, ducking down under the defense and getting some yardage. John Van der Giesen.
Louis
Hands off,
Stanfield should
Fred.
be fresh. 10 minutes in the bin. He just came back.
Herkus, no one to throw it to. Spins
Hands off,
to
Fred.
recycle.
Feet.
But again, you take a look, 3 possessions after the line out, the United States now playing back at the halfway line.
And Dave, just when it looks like there's like the U.S. has men advantage on the outside, the Welsh just fly out to the tackle area. It's fantastic.
Quite a defensive effort by Wales. Look at this. The United States has lost about 12 meters, although they keep the possession. Recycle again.
Well, they talked about showing patience early on. You get the penalty, rewarded with a penalty.
Offside.
Penalty is against Ian Goff for being offside.
Well, here's where they need a nice long kick by Di Bartola.
And they get it. Yeah, there's Ryan Jones. He came off. He got bumped in the head to start the match. Stayed on for about 10-15 minutes and finally had to come off. His side firmly in command of this afternoon, but the United States at full strength and with a good opportunity and good possession. But look at this.
Compete there, gents.
The throw,
No, it's not straight. Red can't
not
compete.
straight.
Option.
Let's keep it up solid. Let's go here, yeah?
Okay, just when it looked like things were maybe turning just a little bit in the U.S. favor,
Box in.
they're not in straight call. Let's see if Welsh try to spread this field out a little bit more. Try to make a little
Touch.
probe on this weak
Pause.
side. We've seen them try to
Find out,
stab down the
loose
blind
hand,
side a
right.
number of times
Pull in.
today, create more room for their
Full
backs.
arm, please. Full arm.
Nope, they're going to go strong.
Richard Hibbert back onto the pitch for Wales. He started last week's game in Toronto. Now the Welsh on attack. Bad pass from Daniel Evans. Ball went into touch. So we'll see who else came in for Wales recently. As we mentioned, Hibbert in. And I believe it's Mitchell as well, but we'll double check.
Again, Dave, really expansive play by this Welsh side, almost sideline to sideline. And you're right, there's Craig Mitchell. There's big
Ian
Luke
Goff
Charteris.
went off, yes.
Yeah, Luke Charteris, he's just come in as well, number 18, 6'9", 280 pounds is all.
Yep. 13 caps, plays for the
Both must stay on the ground until
Newport
he's throwing the ball.
Dragons.
If you dummy jump,
And
they
he
dummy
knows
jump.
what it's like to be on the losing end of some games as well. You know, some of these guys on Wales team, they were in the 96-11 defeat to South Africa in 1998. So they've seen some one-sided games too, and the other way.
I just can't, I saw that, and I still can't imagine how that happened, or just.
Well, it was one of those tours that went down south where the team didn't feel a very strong side. They just blooded a bunch of new guys, and they got clobbered.
Blooded being the operative word. Here's the high ball. Here's the catch. Nicely done by Wiles. Offside against the Welsh. So the U.S. is going to have an opportunity for a kick or scrum, and they're going to take the scrum up ahead.
Oh, there's decision making here too.
In line with your touch judge, all right? See the touch judge?
We'll take the penalty here.
And they're going to take the
Yeah.
penalty.
Call 11, listen, I'm calling
Okay.
you out.
Swing away with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball action. First at 8 Eastern on Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Chase Utley and the Phillies take on the National League West leading Los Angeles Dodgers, who are led by Juan Pierre's hot bat. Then catch Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern for an AL showdown as Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays face Alex Rodriguez and the New York Yankees. Major League Baseball on ESPN and ESPN 360 Sunday and Monday night. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
All right,
Well, the
Dave.
United States may want to take some bats out next time they play.
That was a nice long kick. Good execution on that line. This might be a gap.
Herkus and the bad pass leaves it on the deck, picked up by Swarin. Little
he's-
confusion.
He's going to have a lot of work to. Oh, good job by Swarin.
Okay, the U.S. near the 22. They started the match
Roll
like
red.
this,
Hold it.
gave up a penalty, and it's been downhill since. Biller has been a busy young hooker today.
Hold there.
Into the tackle and the recycle possession. Another hit.
Isolated.
Hayden Smith all by himself. And the Welsh losing their feet, but no call on that. Go to the blind side. Maybe there's an extra man there. Maybe there's some ways for Wiles. Wiles carries across the 22. The U.S. with that opportunity you're looking for with a little momentum goes Mate Moeakiola.
Looked like the Welsh were offside. Referee said no.
The skipper without a number, Nick Johnson, in to tackle.
Free ball for the U.S.
And the U.S. showing a little bit of moxie now. Herkes, Wiles slowed down to take the ball into tackle. That changed everything. Back to the penalty kick.
All right, decision time again for Petrie. Does he feel he needs to get a three-pointer, or is he going to try for the line?
Make the tackle
Looks like
clear out
Herkes
straight away, please.
Well, might be doing something to the forwards here. Penalty play.
Well, they're iffy on the line out today. And I think they're going to go with the
They're going line out.
conventional wisdom. And
No, they're going line out.
right, going to go take that with Mike Herkes kick.
Well, that last throw down to Louis Stanfield was spot on by Biller.
And that kick is spot on as well, marked about 2 meters from the try line. Here's another look.
Well, there's where Wiles said, oh, no, this is a nice little break by Wiles. This led to the penalty. Good attack by the shifty little fullback. You know, Biller caught a lot of grief for that performance against Ireland, but I think it was more than just him. And, you know, it's all about timing. I saw a couple of the jumpers drop balls as well, of those 6 they lost in the first half. That was a nice throw and take again by Stanfield.
The U.S. setting itself.
That's 7-8 out.
They charge it ahead. Hammer it a second time. Nicely done by the U.S. forward pack. 5 meters away are the United States. Try again. This time the Welsh stiffening up. They're a tussle at 5 meters. Recycled ball. Moving forward again. No call. The U.S. ever so close. A meter away. The forwards. Here comes another attempt. Moeakiola tackled, but recycled again. A meter out on the U.S. Take it again. The Welsh fire back with the strong tackle at the line. Oh, this is the best tug of war of the day.
Oh, they're just guarding the fringes. This is where the U.S. talked about the patience. They must have patience down here.
And now the crowd finally has a chance to chant USA. Another foray into the Welsh defense held up, but another recycle by the United States. Eagles a meter away from possibly scoring their first try of the day.
Come on, get in there, Nick.
That was bizarre as Nick Johnson just jumped over his side of the line.
It's desperate down here. You have to commit yourselves to this charge.
Another time, the U.S. goes forward a half meter away. Out it goes to the backs. Herkes on the burst. They go to centers. Down they go as Pate Tuilevuka scores for the United States.
There we go. Nice patience, fellas. And a nice strong run by Pate Tuilevuka. Good little misdirection off Herkes' hip, but good work by the forwards. They didn't pick up a whole lot of meters there, Dave.
They couldn't.
About 4 or 5 minutes worth of driving towards that line. Welsh were up to the task, and then they spread it out wide. And Tuilevuka, nice pace here. He came in the line strong, hit that gap, and Peel just couldn't make the tackle. And there's the nice solid put down, grounding it for the try for the United States. So good work.
It's only the second time today we've seen the Eagles actually create the hole with a superior angle and hit it at pace. Makes all the difference in the world. So Pate Tuilevuka with the try for the U.S., the veteran center. And now the conversion attempts. And it is good by Gavin DiBartolo. And he has kicked a penalty goal and now a conversion. And the United States in double digits, 27-10 the score.
You know, it's the same score as we saw last week against Ireland, but I think the Eagles were much more pleased with the effort that they put in last week. It looked like we have an Eagle player down on the pitch. Referee's going to allow a little bit of timeout here for the U.S. But they finally started putting something together here in the second half. Nice start to the half.
All right, we're going to take advantage of this timeout and send it back. We'll be returning to Toyota Park in just a minute. Welcome back after the United States scores the try, converts it. The restart kick by the Welsh trickles into touch, and their ball on the scrum inside U.S. territory. A switch out for the United States. Starting prop Mate Moeakiola, who was critical in that recent attack, gives way to Mike McDonald. Mike started last week against Ireland. 5-time All-American at the University of California. 5 national championship trophies he has as well. Here come the Welsh. After giving up the try, nice movement, couple of missed tackles. That allows Bishop into U.S. defensive territory. Round 2 this possession. Through the centers it goes, just nice, easy rugby. They could not complete the pass outside, Brian, but you look as you see the backfield of the Welsh, just spot on.
You know, it could be spot on if they made that pass, but the U.S. just too slow, I think, coming up in the into the face of these Welsh attackers. I mean, you look at the Welsh, and again, the U.S. not too bad on their lineouts. We saw one miss, but down when they needed the last couple of times. Good take by Van der Giesen. I think the referee's going to say not in straight. No, he's just going to say back 10, so going to let the U.S. play on. But again, it's all about defense, and if you watch the two teams from where we're at, you can just see the Welsh coming up so quickly, not giving the U.S. an opportunity to even think about what they're going to do next.
They're going to take the ball into touch. That kick is going to deliver a 22-meter result. That's where the Welsh will have the line out. Mike Herkus.
Mike did not have a good game last time out. I think he'd be the first to tell you that. Missed 4 makeable kicks. Didn't kick one for touch just before the half. But he's been around for a long time. Has done some really good things for the U.S. Leading scorer ever.
The U.S. tries to set the tackle line inside the gain line. Doesn't matter. The Welsh cross both. Nice. Well, nice come up, but they don't wrap, don't finish, and that does it. Yep. The Welsh come again. Warburton. And the U.S. having trouble bringing Warburton and Mitchell down. The U.S. playing down a man due to injury.
Hands off, White!
And a penalty against the United States coming off the side after the ruck was formed. And let's see, well, they're going to play on. The U.S. not having time to get reorganized. They get it to James.
Nice, 7! Come on, you're lying all over the place, mate.
Here comes your big pass outside again. This into the arms of Spratt. He just came into the game. Jonathan? Oh, the running continues against the United States. That's Mark Jones down finally, 10 meters from the line. 27-10. The Welsh trying to put another one on the U.S. Nice skip out. One more pass. Does he get it? Nice inside step. Try to Tom James and the Welsh. And they get the points right back.
Oh, the Welsh make it look so easy. That long out pass, we've seen it a couple of times in this Welsh backline attack. And it really puts the defense under an enormous amount of pressure. And you just saw the little sidestep. And again, watch the long pass out by Nicky Robinson. He missed 3 men out wide. And he found number 22, Jonathan Spratt, the reserve. And again, they just make it look so easy. Cutting back inside on Mike Herkus, and just no chance of stopping that.
Well, you mentioned that it was Kevin Swerin who went down. He was whacked pretty hard.
Dave, you know what? We've been talking about tries, but it looks like they may have called a forward pass there on that last Paul.
Oh, my goodness. It looks as if you are absolutely correct. It looks like the touch judge came on.
And it's great to see Kevin up and about.
Yep. Junior Sifa will come in for him. Here's another look.
Well,
that's the forward pass.
There it is, yeah.
Forward pass. The touch judge came back and said, no, you can't have that try.
Stop talking about this Welsh back line of being so good.
Yeah, nice.
But it's good to see Kevin up and around. You know, as you know, the Rugby Foundation sent Kevin down to New Zealand last year to Maria Meksted's International Rugby Academy in New Zealand, and he was outstanding down there and has come back and done a whale of a job for the 7s and now for the 15s. Congratulations to Kevin.
Well, in that same academy run by our friend Murray Mekstad, the great New Zealand All Black and a commentator, is coming to the United States. It'll be in Glendale, Colorado in a couple of months. Great opportunity for young Americans to really get the top end of a coaching experience. Here comes your punt for touch and space, and it's reasonable. So the U.S. picks up about 10 meters on the exchange, but Wales will have the lineup.
Well, reasonable is right under an enormous amount of pressure by Dwayne Peel. Herkus gets it clear. Look at this back line for the Welsh. There's a guy 40 meters back on the wing.
He was standing in Canada. Thought he'd get a really big run up. All right, into the tackle go the Welsh. 10 meters from the line. And with the forwards, they just barrel forward.
A lot of bodies.
A lot of bodies went down on the deck.
I think they got the US up now. They're just saying
Now
get back.
back behind the line. They are patient. Gareth Williams, the hooker, plays like a halfback. Now the real halfback. Peel sends it. Again he does. And here they come at pace. Sidestep, knock him down. That's Jonathan Davis. As a big knock on, the U.S. is going to dodge the bullet.
You know, better defense by the United States. And it's interesting watching the Welsh set up their offensive attack. They use the forwards just to set it up for that just very, very explosive back line. They've done a wonderful job so far with that today. It's nice team play by this Welsh side. And just a little bit hard on this last pass for Wales. There it is, the man cutting through it. I think they thought there were going to be a little longer pass out. He cut in short. And the ball goes right off the hands. I think that was Andrew Bishop. U.S. still pinned deep. They need a good solid scrum here. Allow Petrie to do some work with Herkus. And there's certainly not much room for them to kick. We may just see the forwards try to pick up and create a little bit more space for Herkus to clear into touch.
We're playing with a slightly shortened try zone. And that does make a difference for the United States in this instance as they put the ball down 5 meters in play.
Yeah, it forces that forward pack to take it up a little bit further.
Here comes the kick from DiBartolo. Does he find touch? He just does. Big break for the U.S.
Nice kick, Gavin DiBartolo. Things are working out a little better here for the United States in the second half. And one of the things they want to work on, they are happy with the Ireland game that it was a full 80-minute effort. And they need that today. How many times, Dave, have we called a game where 60 minutes the U.S. is within touch and then just an explosion at the end? You know, it's a 40 or 50-point result. They've got to continue to just play hard in these last 20 minutes.
Take by the Welsh. Nice little dummy bit of running that time by Peel. This is Hibbard, 25-year-old member of the Ospreys. It's good little work by Williams. Oh, missed tackle opportunity, but he is tough to bring down, Jonathan Davis. Ball squirts forward, and it's going to be taken and centered and put down for. Hang on. They're going to look with the touch judge. I'm not going to go too quickly on this time. Try. Well, they took one away, and this time they ensured it was all legal.
Well, I think the U.S. were hoping for a knock-on call, I think, as it squirted out of that last ruck that the Welsh set up on the sideline. Let's see if we can see it come out. There's Peel getting it out. And there's Davis taking it up ahead. Let's see how that ball squirts free. I think that was Davis. I think that was Davis's right arm that sent that ball back, forward, or left arm rather. Neither the referee or the side judge caught it. Let's see if we can take a look at it. I'm not sure if we can see it from here or not. Davis makes a nice big break. He's a big boy to bring down in that midfield. Let's see if we can see his left arm. Well, we can't see it from that angle. I think the finish was fine, but it was that in that ruck situation, I think it came out knocked forward by this Welsh side.
Nicky Robinson with a kicking clinic this afternoon. No matter where he tees that ball, he is able to put it between the sticks and above the crossbar.
Well, I think that was a good break by this Welsh side, but again, you play the referee, you play the whistle, you keep attacking. Good strong run in the midfield leads to good things.
Herkus will restart for the U.S. Good placement. And a take right next to the touchline by Chateris. Luke, as we mentioned, the 26-year-old, got his 14th cap as a result of coming into this match. Here's your clearing kick. It's going to come down, and it is going to be said in touch, straight out. And as a result, the U.S. now with a line out deep inside Welsh territory. So the Welsh were able to respond this half to the U.S. try. Now the U.S. asked to respond to the Welsh score.
And that was one of the few mistakes that the Welsh have made today. You saw that ball brought inside the 22-meter line from outside the 22-meter line. It went straight into touch.
And the ball secured by the U.S. and into ruck. 34-10 in favor of Wales. Taken, shoved forward by Mike McDonald. McDonald picks up a couple of more meters. Scrum to the United States.
Moving forward is white. Both teams on your feet.
And Dave, hey, how about this? Number 16 for the United States, Brian McClanahan, making his debut today.
Maria has an update on the injury to Kevin Swerin. Maria.
Steve, well, if you look at Kevin, he looks fresh and ready to stay out there, but he was knocked out for nearly 20 seconds. Just spoke to the team doctor and said, obviously, they're not going to let him, they weren't going to let him stay in, and they have to just keep an eye on him for the rest of the day.
You know, I don't care if you're playing rugby, baseball, football, hockey. You just don't ever mess with a head injury, and it's a good decision by the United States and staff to take Kevin Swerin off the field.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Speaking of that, Hayden Smith has left the match for the United States. And I'm looking, Brian.
Looks like Courtney McKay.
McKay comes in. Courtney, born in Auckland, big kid, 6'4", 235-pounder. Maybe some fresh push in that scrum for the U.S. Nope. Instead it goes out the other side. The Welsh wanted to cheekily take it away. Not so. They'll do it again.
You know, talking about head injuries, it wasn't always that way in rugby.
No. I was only out for 20 seconds. I want to play some more. That's the way it used to be.
No, the coaches were saying he's only out for 20.
Yeah.
He could play.
What do you mean he was only out for 20 seconds?
Better.
He just had his bell rung. He'll be fine. That's the way it was. Okay.
There you go.
They got some space.
Come on.
One pass from Wiles. DiBartolo down and tackle. The pass thrown just a bit premature. But the U.S. 6 meters away. Oh, they lose it, and they're going to be penalized. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I think Chris Wiles would love to have that back. And now the Welsh are going to make the U.S. pay. Oh, awkward as it could possibly be on the quick kick after the...
Boy, look at the lineup out here on the right side. Hey, there's a good steal.
And the U.S. takes one away. They need this. Back to the 10-meter line on their side of the pitch. Big takeaway for the U.S. after the penalty.
Yeah, they played better here in the second half. Got a few fresh legs out there, but so has the Welsh. I think their defense has been shored up in the second half. They're playing much tougher, making the tackles. And I think they figured out that Welsh offensive attack a little bit better.
And the Welsh have a player on the deck. We hope he's okay. In the meantime, we'll remind you, NASCAR goes racing under the lights as Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards look to prevent Joey Logano from completing the season sweep in the Music City. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Nashville, presented by Pennzoil. Coverage begins Saturday night with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Well, with the injury, we're going to take the time out. We'll be back to Toyota Park in Chicago. The Welsh very much in charge when we return. Toyota Park in Chicago. Dave Sitton along with Brian Vizard, Maria Prekages. The United States with a couple of swaps while we were away, and the kick by DiBartolo, who is rapidly becoming one of the stars for the U.S. on the day. This is his first time out as an Eagle. Make that his first time out this assembly. He's got 6 caps now. In any event, the U.S. now with Tim Eustace plays his rugby for Nottingham at halfback now.
Dave, we got the new hooker McClanahan throwing in. I think this might be his first line out in test match rugby.
And a good throw, good
Nice.
take. And the U.S. on the gallop. Herkus, little switch, bring it back over to Tui Levuka, the try scorer for the United States here in the second half. Into heavy traffic goes the U.S. attack.
Well, he looked offsides there, the Welsh. They
Yep.
come up so quick.
Yeah, their hooker's offside right now. And that causes the mishandle. Nope. I guess he pulled it back in.
Yeah, they said it went backwards, I think.
And the turnover ball to the Welsh with space, opportunity. 4-on-2, cut back by Bishop.
Oh, nice.
Oh, they get it into the hands of Bigger. Dan for the Ospreys dribbles it down the pitch. Who's going to pick it up? This way, gingerly put it down for the try. It's Gareth Cooper into the match from Gloucester. And the 30-year-old scores another Welsh try.
And how about that 19-year-old Bigger? Dan Bigger, the fly half reserve, came in. Wearing number 21. Watch a nice little offload. That was the key to make this attack continue. And Bigger just popped it through. It could have been Bigger or Cooper that was going to down this ball. All Cooper, the easiest of tries. It was already in the try zone. All he had to do was plop down on it, keep control. And this is where the U.S. really has to suck it up. Last 10 minutes of play. Perfectly weighted kick. You want it in the end goal if possible. Just make it as easy as possible.
And with the Bigger replacing Nicky Robinson, Bigger will be the kicker.
Still perfect.
Yep. The Welsh kicking core, brilliant on the day.
Could we say bigger and better?
Yeah, possibly. And there's your try scorer there, Gareth Cooper. So 20 scores, 21 makes the conversion. And those two numbers add up to 41-10. Tough to be in the bird suit today. The Eagles, Brian, really took themselves out of it. If you look back to the first sequence, they made a good stop to start the game and had an opportunity deep inside Welsh territory. Then the penalty started, and it's never really righted itself.
Yeah, they had a nice attack going.
And last thing you need here is a kick straight into touch, which, of course, is another unforced error, which the Welsh will take advantage of with a scrum at midfield. Wow.
Yeah, that Louis Stanfield penalty, I think that hurt that momentum for the United States off the ball. The referee called it just when the United States underneath the sticks about 5 meters out, had recycled about 7 or 8 phases.
Touch. Straight in and down. Tight head straight, please.
Kick to touch. Wales will have a line out 10 meters out. Way too much defense played by the United States today.
Yeah, you touched on earlier, Dave. It really wears a team down when you're on your back foot the whole time. But I think the difference was the defense, the way the Welsh came up and attack, and they have an attacking defense. In the United States, again, when you're just catching and receiving those attacking players coming at you, it makes for a very long day.
4 or 5 times today, to prove your point, Brian, the United States had reasonably good possession, would go through 5 or 6 phases, but would be losing territory.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no way to be successful losing territory in this game.
Well, they wanted to be patient, but still, it doesn't mean just getting driven back downfield.
Although, as much as you credit the Welsh defense, and rightly so, you take a look at only twice today did they hit the line with pace. That was the run in the first half by Atam Alifa and the try that was scored by Pate Tuilevuka.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, it's as if the United States takes the ball standing still and tries to run after the catch, and that doesn't really get you too much in this union game.
And I think we can credit the organization of the Welsh defense, too, how quick they just reorganize, get away from the ruck area, from the breakdown area, and just realign themselves out in the back line. There was just no opportunities. There was no gaps whatsoever for the U.S. It looks like a front row player for the United States.
Oh, it might be Nick Johnson, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It is Nick
Oh, it
Johnson.
is?
It's
So
Nick Johnson. the skipper for the United States. So the U.S. is playing short, a loose forward right now. They're going to have to get somebody off the bench.
Well, I think they brought Monte in, so there's going to have to be a reorganization in that front row.
Here's your kick. The Welsh with the great take by Peel. Peel dances, jukes, and gets out to midfield. Here's the Welsh. Good tackles by the United States. Put the Welsh under a lot of pressure. Nice bit of cleanup by Andrew Bishop, the center, to get the ball back to midfield. And a penalty against the United States. What for this time?
I think just hands in at that tackle, or losing their feet at the tackle area.
And we know for sure it's against Louis Stanfield, and he's not had his best afternoon. About 5 minutes remaining in this one. The United States, as Brian mentioned at the top of the show, week 2 of a pretty important series of matches. The Churchill Cup is next, and then the big one that we'll have for you on ESPN on the 4th of July, a World Cup qualifier with the next door neighbors, Canadians. Nice break by the Welsh. Bring the backside wing. Now the carry by Davis. Oh, beautiful passing that time. Back inside, you see a lock like Daniel Jones, able to toss it into his prop, John Yap, into the tackle.
There's still a lot of fight left in this Eagle team. They're making
Turnover.
their tackles.
Here's Herkus with his kick. Out into DiBartolo territory, but look, somebody to cover. Big guy, too. Down he goes.
Luke Charteris. He's easy to spot.
Yeah. More Welsh attack.
Last feet. No, wide with me.
U.S. that blocker move and mishandle. Here's perhaps an opportunity. The ball is covered by Spratt. Or I think that's Sifa Jr.
Let it come, Red.
Pago in American Samoa.
Lost forward.
What a great place to be from. Pago.
Straight back.
Herkus kick, and this will be one of the few times they're going to catch the Welsh in retreat, and it's a hooker. Gareth Williams, who's got a pretty good handle with the football. Nonchalantly puts it up. Here comes the kick. Textbook, no problem. One good pass. U.S. with the quick line out. Tuilavuka. Back to Pate. He scored the United States try this afternoon. Too much pressure that time placed on Eustace. Referee is the timekeeper in this. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the match. The United States trying to get a second try. 41-10 our score. And the ball squirts forward on the attempt. The Welsh with the turnover ball. And they've got a lot of people outside. Here they go. This is Davis. Davis just splits it through. Down he goes. Second try of the day for Jonathan. And the Welsh make it look so easy.
Well, you could see the huge overload. Once that ball got turned over, there was about 6 or 7 Welsh backs just queuing up, waiting to get that ball. A nice little show of the ball on the outside by Davis. Watch how quickly this ball got to. And there's one key pass. This next pass is so key. Look at the quick hands that time. That was Andrew Bishop. A nice show right here. Just take a look outside. Wiles really had no options. And Jonathan Davis just skirts right in. There's a back. Look at the alignment. There's the quick pass. All of a sudden you got 3 guys out. Lots of room in front. And the cover defense, when they're going, you just let them use that momentum. You cut right back inside and you score, Jonathan Davis.
The kick will be Dan Bigger's second attempt since replacing Nicky Robinson, the starting fly half for Wales. No problem.
Goodness gracious. Unbelievable kicking display by the Welsh. And Dave, before this game ends, I think we should congratulate Robin McBride. He's kind of the caretaker coach for this Welsh side. Warren Gatlin, the usual head coach for Wales, he's down to the British Lions, as are 4 other Wales coaches.
The British and Irish Lions.
They must have a heck of a coaching staff down there.
Yes.
My gosh, you got 5 Welshmen down there. But again, congratulations to Robin McBride, an old teammate of assistant coach Dave Hodges at
Yep.
Llanelli.
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 37 caps he had as a hooker. Came from North Wales, moved south. I think it's interesting, though. I've not seen too many countries have this. In 1992, he was qualified as the strongest man in all of Wales. I don't know how you do that. Carry a piano
That's
2
Kaji.
blocks or something. Yeah. Penalty against Wales. That's pretty close to the end.
Maybe it was one of those beer keg tosses in the ACN.
Yeah. Beer cake catches. That would be impressive. All right, this will be the final set piece of the game, the line out.
All right, fellas, let's finish high, huh?
The U.S. inside 10 meters. Last gasp.
Oh! Line out's over.
They win the line out. And they've not had too much success trying to march against the Welsh today.
Well, the little scrum match was right in the middle of that.
Now they move it forward to 5 meters. Patience, boys, patience.
Watch the sideline. Oh, look at it, bringing all the backs. Come on, fellas, drive it over.
That's going to have to go on the back line at some point. Oh, they get it out across, and a try scored by the United States. No, they say held up in the tackle. Here we go again. There you see the ball, and there you see right there. That would be hitting the terra firma here at Toyota Park. It's an interesting teaching point about the game. You literally do have to touch it down in this game. It's not like gridiron where you tell people you touch it down when you don't. Try awarded. See, I would have saved him 3 minutes.
Oh, we love the Canadians, huh?
That's right. Atta boy. Nice call, Brian.
And a nice try by J.J. Gagliano. On the death, something positive to come away with this. You know, and again, there's still a lot of fight with this U.S. team at the end of 80 minutes. Could have led in a lot more tries.
All right, well, the takeaway now is down to Gavin DiBartolo's attempt. He has been, like the Welsh counterparts, good today with all of his kicks at the sticks. This one on the 22-meter line, but outside the 15-meter dotted line. Not the easiest kick. And he just misses it left. However,